Cheryl's here to talk about the Maple Leafs, who are on a bit of a roll once again. They've won 4 of 5 after that 7-2 thrashing of the Flyers last night. And once again, leading the charge offensively for Toronto, Cheryl, John Tavares, who scored twice, had 4 points in the win. Tavares had just 3 goals, Cheryl, in January and February, but now 10 in March. Why do you think he's enjoyed such a resurgence on the offensive side?
Well, he's been outstanding, hasn't he, Glenn? And you know what, to be truthful, I don't even love the word resurgence because that would imply that this guy's been flat. And when I go back and I look at his numbers over the course of his career, there's one word that sticks out to me: consistency. This guy has been a model of consistency. You can talk about his longevity, what he does on and off the ice to stay fit, to be able to perform at the highest level. But look no further than his 7 years where he has scored 30 goals plus. Then you have to look at his fight, his willingness to compete and battle. This has been day in and day out, the intangibles and the work ethic within his game. At 34 years of age, coming into the game last night, he was 3rd in the league in winning those puck battles. Let's get to the interior, shall we? In fighting for that internal space. When you look at his collective body of work heading into last night's game, he was 9th overall in rebound and inner slot chances. So this guy's doing outstanding work. What I would tell you is the noticeable difference in his game is where he is shooting from. And there's a bit more flash and dash to it because he's got the likes of Bobby McMahon on his line right now to get in first on the puck. When you can get in first on the puck and you're hounding the puck, that means John Tavares ain't there. That allows him to come down the middle of the ice, be a little bit higher in the zone, and you've seen him rip it and grip it from that high slot area. And everyone's kind of like, whoa, where did that come from? So you're seeing a different dynamic. He's not just net front right now. You know what he does when he's aligned with the likes of William Nylander. But now when you got 2 guys on the puck, William Nylander has the freedom to pick that puck up after contact. So you're looking at a trio of guys that are finding familiarity, chemistry, and they're finding the back of the net.
Yeah, it's a nice mix, that line. And, you know, Tavares, he was a captain for a long time with the Islanders. Of course, last summer, he passed the torch to Auston Matthews as Matthews became the new captain of this team. Strangely, Matthews is having a bit of an off year offensively, while Tavares has maybe overachieved for his age anyway. Do you feel that maybe no longer wearing the C, Cheryl, has taken a bit of pressure off Tavares and freed up his game a little bit?
Well, I think, you know what, there's always pressure when you wear the C and you're always thinking about the right things to say. You want to lead by example, and now you have the freedom to just go out and play and be exactly what you want to be on the ice. But I don't think this is conscious by any stretch of the imagination. These guys are mature, they're pros. Wearing that C is an honor. So I don't think that it's certainly come into the fold in terms of how he's playing right now. I still certainly think that John Tavares has always exhibited leadership on the ice, whether he's worn the C or not. And it's come from the beating he takes in the paint. I don't think he's always gotten the recognition that he has deserved for what he has done. I think it also comes back to his lacrosse playing days, the way he can roll off checks, but he is strong. He leads by example, his work ethic and his preparation that he puts in. And then when he gets in and around the paint, you see that work ethic. So for me right now, he's not wearing a C, but he is certainly a leader on the ice.
Yeah, definitely. Now, let's look ahead a bit. There are a lot of varying opinions when you ask people about what Tavares' next contract should look like. But if you're the Leafs, Cheryl, what do you offer Tavares in terms of money and years? He'll be 35 by next season. So what do you think his role might be for the Leafs beyond this season?
Well, the waters are muddied with this one, right? Because you're looking at guys like Marner, whether he's going to get an extension, Matthew Nyes, what his number is going to be, but the cap is going up. And you can all say, everyone out there can say this guy should get a home or give a hometown discount. But when you're tracking for 40 goals, when you have 7 seasons of 30 goals plus, and you're operating in that 2C hole, you deserve some money. I'm going to say, you know, right now he wants to play for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that's the word on the street, right? He bleeds blue. So you got to be looking at somewhere in around that $6 million mark. And, you know, I also look at term. I mean, this is going to be the big one right now for him at 34 years of age, what that term is going to look like. You know, I don't think it's going to be 2 years. Is it going to be 3 to 4? And that's going to also alter the money. But this guy can go on the open market, and he can get some big, big money right now. You saw what Steven Stamkos got at that $8 million mark. And what we haven't even talked about is what this guy does on the power play yet, or how he operates as a face-off specialist at 57.7% right now. So you can put him on the ice in overtime, put him out there, you say, oh, he's not the fleetest of foot to be able to have the speed at 3-on-3, but guess what? He's going to win you that draw and get off the ice. So there's so many different things about his game-winning goals, his power play production. So I think this guy is a real find for any team, but the Toronto Maple Leafs, they got to be looking at keeping him right now. You know, they were already looking at that 3-hole. They went and got Lawton. Max Domi, a big question mark. Who are you going to go get in that 2C hole that's going to produce like John Tavares is right now?
Yeah, Tavares certainly brings a lot to the table. You got to wonder if the Leafs are thinking, do we wait until after the playoffs to make any offer, or does that happen before the postseason ends? The Leafs have made the playoffs every year with Tavares during this contract. He's played 38 playoff games for the Leafs, producing 12 goals and 24 points. Thanks, Cheryl.